I guess we'll start simple. Is there any dollar value of reparations that, like, have you quantified it to a dollar value that you would want to be owed? And how would it be paid out? Would it just be the U.S. government would collect taxes from primarily white people and pay it out? How would it work? Or would it be like a private kind of system you want people to opt into?
A dollar amount?
Yeah. Do you think, like, the average black person's owed, 10 grand, 20 grand each? Is there anything like that?
Well, studies show that it's for the labor itself, it's around $14 trillion.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen this study here.
Stolen lives of African people have been given to build the United States government and to build economy, the capitalist economy that you know of. But I, and as well as the party, understand that that amount is a drop in the puddle of what is owed to African people that has given our everything. We're forcefully given our everything, not just labor. I mean, labor is one thing, but to give away our history, to give away our language, to give away our connection.
Hi, this is Anthony Cumia.
And hello, I am Gavin McInnes.
Together, we're Compound Censored.
And we'd like you to subscribe to our network that has more fantastic content you could shake a stick at. Use this promo code for a one-time super offer.
Do it. It's uncensored and oh so entertaining.
Us to push us into privately owned prisons, to build a prison industrial complex, to destroy African children through the school to prison pipeline, to murder African children on the street, to make African women feel inferior, to starve African children because of parasitic capitalism. The amount is the liberation and determination of African people. And everything that you see anything you see of the white nation has been stolen from African and colonized people. I mean, from the people you call Aboriginals in Australia, to the people of South America. These lands are poor because Europe is wealthy. So, yeah, that's
all right.
the answer.
So, how about mind if I jump in?
Yeah, we got to keep the answers a little shorter.
Yeah, all right.
It went like I saw myself.
Yeah, we all see each other. But, I mean, my argument was, I was going to start from talking about, I mean, usually people argue for reparations for slavery. I mean, obviously you and your movement take it to a different level with colonialism. But to talk about slavery, we have a control group in that the North didn't have slavery, the South did. So in response to the argument that slavery built America, and obviously it contributed a great amount, in the North had something like 75% of all wealth prior to the Civil War, and obviously there was never a slave in the North. So only something like 5% of GDP was actually attributable to slavery.
There was no slaves in the North.
History?
New York City had slaves. Underneath what you call the stock market, there was slaves. There's bones of slaves that you can find. There's chains that you can find underneath that. You need to do real history and see that underneath Wall Street was African slavery. And no matter what part of white people or which white person didn't own a slave, they all benefited from slavery. Because I heard this one here.
Gavin.
Gavin.
Whatever. You were saying that only 1% of white people or something own slaves. And
about 1.5%.
Well, but how many white people contributed in stealing the slaves, chaining the slaves, beating the slaves, finding the slaves, making sure that the slaves wouldn't run away, and benefiting from slavery? So the ownership of the slave is not the only contradiction.
Wasn't that all Arabs and Jews and blacks? Weren't Arabs and Jews and blacks the ones selling the slaves? Didn't they create 10 million slaves out of nothing and sell them mostly to Brazil? We got like 388,000.
Brazil got about 20 million total.
Really?
It was something, it's okay. Either between 10 and 20. It was a very high number compared to what we got.
First, let's go to black Africans selling other African slaves. The definition of slavery that white people had of slavery did not exist on the face of Africa. Beating, taking the names of, separating of families, lynching, branding, forcefully breeding did not happen in Africa.
Oh, they were
Slavery
cool with their
meant
slaves.
Only like 3,000.
Why did 2 million die just not even getting out of the continent
slavery
then?
meant a totally different thing on the continent of Africa. What you are talking about is other nations of people coming and also partaking in the destruction and slavery of Africa. But it's what you owe. And as a child, some little child that says, oh yeah, I hit Timmy, but guess what? They hit Timmy too. But guess what? You are benefiting right now from what you did.
Yeah, I think it's the number of little boys that hit Timmy, though.
Well, the thing I wanted to bring up too.
Focusing on one guy who hit Timmy once as opposed to the entire schoolyard.
I did not, exactly. The entire schoolyard you colonized. The entire schoolyard you colonized. The entire schoolyard you loot from. Everything you have, every material you have is connected to a colonized and oppressed nation.
Are these countries better off when they get colonized? Wasn't colonization nothing but an improvement for the third world?
There are cases when it's obviously not, like the British in India.
Look at Haiti. They kick out all the whites. It becomes a hellhole.
Zimbabwe.
Look at Jamaica after 1969. Look at South Africa today.
Yeah.
The less white people,
Yeah.
the more dangerous it seems to be.
Yeah.
It happened in
From the attacks of white people, from the attacks of imperialism. Do you know that they cut off Haiti from doing trade with anyone? And that
Oh, so you didn't get enough handouts.
Didn't get enough capitalism?
I didn't give you enough you kicked me out?
They assassinated Haitian leaders. They assassinated Haitian leaders. They put Coachella virus in Haiti. They put HIV and AIDS in Haiti. They have attacked Haiti. When the Haitian earthquake happened, the Clintons stole billions of dollars from Haiti.
Well, that's correct.
That could have been given to the Haitian infrastructure.
How could you
cannot
even
say
tell
that-
after Haiti had an earthquake? Before and after pictures look the same.
Your
made that joke
argument
too.
is that a liberated African people will always fail because there's something innate in Black people that will make us fail. Because that's your argument, and it's not
No,
true.
of course
because-
Not really. No,
because
my
we
argument is
start-
that white people are not better than anyone. We're just very good at systems. I don't know why.
No,
Everyone
we're
has a
very good
talent.
at
Our
systems.
talent is
We're
systems.
very
We're good at
colonialism.
roads and infrastructure, and
Very
you
good at
show your
stealing
ticket here and you get
didn't
your pie
build
over
those
there.
roads. You didn't build those infrastructures, so you're
Well,
not good at that. You're good at stealing and looting, and that's why you have a country that has only went 24 to 27 years without a war, because you're good at stealing, because each and every war is of you stealing resources. No, you are not good at systems, sweetheart. You are good at colonialism. You
What
are good at-
resources? Gold and diamonds?
I don't understand the argument, though, that it was, let's say, slaves that built up America. Like, we could just walk out on the street and look at any 10 buildings and none of
Well, the other problem with that whole argument, Ghazi, is after the Civil War,
Stuff was
the
destroyed.
balance sheet was zero. So you build up a restaurant and it burns to the ground, and then someone rebuilds a new restaurant, and you go, "That's my restaurant. I built it."
There is
Not
massive,
really.
yeah, there is actually massive inflation in the South during the Civil
Not a lot
War.
of cotton money going around these days.
No, but there was massive inflation in the South following the Civil War just to finance the war.
Have you ever heard of convict leasing? Have you ever heard of convict leasing?
Okay, that's a different argument. Now you're getting into the way they were treated after the war. Now it's racism reparations, not slavery reparations.
People and the continuation. The basis of capitalism and imperialism is built on the bodies of African people. So even if you say, fine, now you have these resources to rebuild, the resources that you have to rebuild is from the resources that you stole from Africa. None of you here can say where the resources came from, and it didn't come from your systems, and it didn't come from your brightness, and it didn't come from you being more intelligent than others. It came from stolen loot.
I just want to clarify.
Wait, nations are poor.
Okay.
Because white nations are rich. That is a fact. That is a fact. It is a fact that 14 countries in Africa have to give 65% of their budget to France, and then another 15% of that as extra charge. And that if any of those African countries even ask France how much money is in that bank, that they are overthrown and they are killed and they are replaced with another puppet regime. If this wasn't true, you wouldn't have to have over 200 military bases around the world to solidify and sustain your stolen resources. If this was not true, everything that you are talking about is based off of. We live in a world that people are being bombed and murdered and assassinated every day so you can have resources. So yes, I'm talking about the past of what happened in Africa, but you have to understand the past is now. And stop saying African people sold African people as slaves. You put to the Africans that did not help the slave trade, they were murdered and beheaded, and their heads were sent to the royals. Just now in Ghana, they got the heads
That's
of
total
two of
horseshit.
their kings back.
No,
Look it up.
it was a big industry in Africa. It's a big industry today, my friend. There's more slaves ever.
They were murdered. How can you say that? How can you say that they were not murdered for not helping
Because slavery existed way before we were buying the slaves, and it still exists today.
Slavery is as old as human civilization. There's slavery in the Bible before there was any sort of...
The origin of the word's a white slave, a Slav. But
Yeah, that's where
they had slavery in Africa before we decided to buy some, and they still have them right now.
Thomas Sowell...
Is it my fault they have them right now?
That you invented.
No, we did not.
Has never been on this face of the planet until you came
No,
into it.
it's
and
not
guess what?
true.
Your slavery, the slavery that you had, was so huge and so all-encompassing that it has built a system. It has built a system of capitalism. It has built a system of oppression. It has built parasitic capitalism that gives you these cities and these nations. Where are the cities and these nations for these other slaves, these other slave owners?
Yeah, the Irish slaves. Where's their Mecca?
What about the 1.5 million white people sold into slavery during the Barbary pirates?
Yeah, isn't that why we had to invent the Marines to protect ourselves from all these Muslim pirates stealing our women?
The biggest colonial empire, aside from the British, was the Ottoman Empire, and no one seems to want reparations for them because they're not white.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I was going to bring up...
You gave reparations for the Japanese, right?
Correct. They were directly affected.
We didn't. We were total tyrants.
Well, those who were directly in turn got reparations.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought up Japan.
You go in on the barbers and all these other kind of things, but you are currently living right now on a system that is built from the slavery and the colonization of other people, of African people. And that you cannot negate from. And no, we just did not.
I disagree.
We did so much more, and it built an entire nation. America today would not be America today if it wasn't for the enslavement of African people. Europe would not be Europe today if it wasn't for colonialism and slavery. White nations, white people would not be where white people are right now if it was not for colonialism and not for slavery. And right now you are dealing with a crisis of imperialism, of African and colonized people fighting every day. That's why when you go to your airports, you got to go through all these freaking checkouts and take your shoes off and everything. You want to know why?
That's Islam.
Coming back to take back their stuff. You want to know why you have to build a wall? Because people are coming back to take their stuff. You want to know why you have to drop the biggest bomb, the biggest non-nuclear bomb of Afghanistan? Because African and colonized people are fighting for their back consistently everywhere. So as much as you want to negate it, as much as you want to say, well, what about this and this happened and this happened, and oh my God, this happened in history, this happened in history, coming for your neck. Do you not see that?
So the reason
that's a good argument for a wall.
The reason we bombed ISIS in Afghanistan is to steal money from Africa.
And then the best summation you could do, Matt, is to come up with a book about Islam. That Islam is the crux of this issue. That Islam is the core of this issue. That these Muslims just hate freedom. No, these colonized people hate that you're bombing them and you're stealing their resources and starving them to death. And
what are these resources you keep talking about?
We took their diamonds and built an entire country from it.
Yeah, I don't drive a diamond mobile. Do you mean oil?
You drive something that is filled with the oil, right? You use something that's filled with coltan, right?
Yeah.
Right? All these metals, all this stuff, where do you think that came from?
The metal? Where do we get metal from?
Metal here, China.
We're doing great for metal.
That oil that is in your car is blood oil. All the diamonds that you have, even when you give to your wife, and this is the diamond, is blood diamonds stolen from African people.
Well, then
I think we get most of our oil from Canada and Mexico, and most of the oil from Saudi Arabia. We pay for our oil. I don't understand and that's Islam.
Who? You pay who? You pay who?
Islam. Saudi Arabians. Very rich Saudis.
Very rich Saudis that do exactly whatever America says, and if they don't, that they will be replaced. But the masses of the people of Saudi Arabia are poor and colonized. The masses of the people of the Middle East are poor and colonized. And if Saudi Arabia was a self-determining nation that fought and aligned and gave the power and the resources to the masses of the people, there would be no Israel. They would wipe out Israel, and they would wipe out Israel. They would wipe out